So far we have configured all the client-side code that we had to with Braintree, but we need to work on what we have to do with server on post. If we go back to our documentation in developers.braintree.com, get started, we have set up our client. Then next thing is simple server. Here we will select the .NET, and if we scroll down, first thing that you see is the gateway that we are already doing. If we go, we have the gateway and then we generate the token. So if we switch back, after that it generates a token and it sets that to the new object which we are passing, and we're retrieving that inside the JavaScript. After that, if we scroll further down here, we have to work on HTTP post, and you can see we have to retrieve that from collection for the form collection. So if we switch back to our application, we will be working on HTTP post, and right here we do not have the form collection. Rather, we have the iForm collection, and we'll call this as collection. We'll stop our application here and then we'll scroll down. After we create the order header and order details, what we will do is we will get the collection and payment nonce. So we can copy this and paste it here. We are getting the payment method nonce. Name should match exactly what we have right here. So make sure you don't have any mistake there. Then if we switch back to the documentation, we need to create a transaction. So we'll copy this, we'll go back and we'll paste it right here. We are creating a request and we are creating a new transaction request which exists inside the Braintree. So you'll have to add that reference. Then here we need the amount. So amount we will do convert to decimal, and we'll convert the amount which we have inside order header order total. We need to pass the payment method nonce which we have retrieved right here. We do not need the device data, we'll ignore that, but we can pass any other properties that you see right here like billing address, order ID, and so on. We will pass the order ID here, and that is inside order header.id. Then in options, we'll have to convert this to a string, and then options.transaction options request. Whenever you work with any credit card transactions, first you authorize that transaction and then you have to settle that transaction. We are letting Braintree know that whatever transaction we are making, submit that for settlement as well. Sometimes what they do in large organization is they capture all the credit card for authorization and then they submit all of the cards in batch for settlement at the end of the day. But for our project, we can submit them directly for settlement. Once that is done, then we need to get the result or make the actual transaction call right here. Before we make the transaction call, we have to get the gateway again. So we'll create a new variable gateway, and that we have inside brain.getGateway. So we'll get the gateway again, and right here we'll be making a call to our Braintree to make the transaction that we have. Then once we get the result, we can modify the status accordingly. So here, if we go to result object, inside there we have target, and in there we have the processor response text. If this text is equal to approved with a capital A, then the transaction is good. So we'll set the order header.transaction ID, that is inside result.target.id. We will also set the order header.order status to be approved. So web constants.status approved. In the else part, we can set the transaction to cancelled. So order header.order status is equal to web constant.status cancelled. Once you make these changes, do not forget to save them to database. So order header repo.save. Alright, we did quite a few things with Braintree. In the next video, it's time to see everything come together and make our first transaction.